Hey, I just picked up a game. I've had it. This is the third time I've owned this game. I purchased it a long time ago. I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that. Brand new from a board game store. And I never opened it. Left it shrink wrapped. I picked up an earlier edition of it sometime shortly after that, maybe a couple months after the board game pickup. In a large, massive pickup. If you haven't viewed that one, I can't remember what I called it. Something like the biggest haul ever, or the greatest deal ever, or something. It was something like 40 games for $150. Seriously, you got to watch this thing if you haven't seen it on my channel. Maybe I'll post it again. I don't know, but it was ridiculous, and it cost $150, and it ended up with Blood Rage, all the expansions. Caverna, the Mega Man Kickstarter board game with all the extras, which I sold for like $450. Forgotten Stars, I think it's called. Never played it. Sold that. I traded that to somebody for Twilight Imperium 3, which I sold for something, $60 or something. I also got Twilight Imperium. No, I traded for something out of that set, out of the games that I got, for Twilight Imperium 3 and all the expansions, which I still have. What else was in there? There was a ridiculous amount of stuff in there. I'm trying to remember how much was in there. Stuff that I still have. New York 1901, and I mentioned Caverna. Kingdom is a relatively simple game, but something Kingdom or Kingdom something. You have to watch it. There's so many games, and some of them I got rid of. Some of them I still have upstairs. Ridiculous amount. But one of the games was a second edition of this game, so I'm finally getting somewhere with this. And this game is, I should fix it a little bit because I've got these things on it. It's harder to read. Love these things. I have these in a bunch of colors: red, black, white, beige. They keep board games from opening on shelves and stuff. So if I want to have the game like this, I can do it. It's called Fury of Dracula. This is the 4th edition by WizKids. I've owned the 2nd and 3rd edition, and I sold both. So the one that I told you I got in the large, massive thing, I sold for like 60 plus shipping. The other one I sold for, I think, 80 plus shipping. Or 90 plus shipping, I don't remember anymore. Back when it was out of print. Then it comes back into print on a 4th edition, which I think is better than the 3rd edition. From what I've seen, I've seen other people's copies. So, I mean, the box is the same. Here it is, and here's the back. I'll be taking off this now, so that I can open it. It's called Fury of Dracula. And I'm making this for people who are not only familiar with this game, but people who are not familiar with the game at all, or maybe not even that familiar with board games, modern board games. You've seen some in the stores and so on. This Fury of Dracula is a cooperative game. What that means is that one player plays Dracula, and the other 2, 3, 4 players play those hunting Dracula. And it says right here, a game of deduction and gothic horror for 2 to 5 players. So you can do it with 2. My guess is it would be hard to beat Dracula with just 1 player, but I suppose it could be done. I think you'd be better off with 3 or 4, though. So luckily I have a crew that can do that. So you have a learn to play booklet with this. And this is also, from what I understand, the same as the Games Workshop game manual. It may have had a couple of updates in it, but primarily the graphics and the pages and the general look of it is the same, as is the rules reference. So you get 2 things. So this is more of a basic how to play the game. This one is more about, hey, let's look this up. How does this work again? And there's no pictures in this one. This one's just like look it up and get a quick, here's what you do in this situation. Beautiful board. I don't know if I can open this up all the way and hold it. I'll give you a try. I love the look of this board for a lot of reasons. Well, I don't know if I can do this. I haven't opened this up yet, so maybe I can. All right, let's see. Yeah, it's pretty big. So 6 panels. You won't see me at all, but there it is. A beautiful board. It's a beautiful board. You can hear me better. This keeps track of day and night cycles and so on. So it's pretty cool. Let's see, is this going to work like this? Yes, it does. All right. And just love the old look of this, as far as the muted colors and things. And this, I'm guessing, is for Dracula to use, for him to plot out where he is and so on. Oh, excuse me. Let me be gone. You've got some really cool painted minis here. Now the minis in this one are bigger than the last set. I don't know by how much, not by a lot. They're not that big to begin with. But oh, these came out nice. So look at that. I'll see how well I can do a job. So I can hold this still enough we can get a pretty good look at him. He's pretty detailed. See that? Yeah, he's pretty detailed. And that is who? Well, let's see. Not. I know who it isn't. Let's see who it is. It's not Van Helsing. That is Lord Godalming. 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 And the card. This is a pretty thick card, too, thicker than the other one. Let's get the back. Then you've got Dracula. He's pretty cool. Kind of matches the dude on the cover. Let's see, we got Dracula. Who's Dracula? Dracula. So Dracula actually comes onto the board sometimes, and other times vanishes. The idea being, if you're the player who owns or controls Dracula, you're moving him, trying to isolate somebody so that you can get them into a position where you can either change them into a vampire. You're also out creating vampires aside from this group here. So there's Dracula. You look at him, hopefully. Hopefully you do. So he's got this red cape. I'm not so sure how well you can see the cape behind him. Yeah, you can see it there. It's red. Yeah. And then can you zoom in on him? Come on. Okay, as far as good as I can get him. You sort of get the idea, but these are pretty detailed minis here. They're pretty nicely done. Let's see here. Next is, this is not a lot of fun taking these out of these things either. They're tiny, tiny, tiny little bags I'm taking them out of. You didn't see it before. Okay. This is Jonathan Harker. And he has a really nice crucifix. Again, I'm not sure how well you can zoom in on him. How well this camera will. But he's cool. So it's a brown cross, and then there's actually a reddish, or copper looking almost, figure on the cross. Okay. So he's back in these baggies. I think it's just you don't want to get this stuff chipped. And then you've got Van Helsing is next. He is, of course, with what I'm assuming is I don't think it's a Bible as much as it might be a book of lore regarding vampires and so on. He's looking at that book, or in that general direction. And then, of course, he's got a stake in his hand. And each one has a card, and on each one of their cards that I showed you before, they have certain abilities, including Dracula. And the last character is Mina. Mina's been bitten already once. So she starts out with one bite on her already, which is so not good to get bitten again if you're Mina. You would avoid that at all costs. So she's have to poke into the bag here. Let's see. What does she have going on here? It was caught. There we go. One of her hands was caught on the bag. And she has got a pistol. Well, hold on. What's good? What a pistol's going to do her, but she's got a pistol. And She's wearing a cross. She's wearing a cross also. So there you can see the cross around her neck. Again, very detailed sculpts. We'll call them sculpts. Yeah. Okay. Back in. And that's the 5 characters. So 4 can play as the soldiers going out after Dracula, and then 1 person plays as Dracula. I think I just assume play as one of the ones going after Dracula. But I know my son Aaron will love to play as Dracula. We have Letters from Whitechapel, and that's a similar game in some ways. And he loves to be Jack the Ripper in that one. So each card has different abilities. So Dracula, who's Dracula? He has Rage, Pride, and the Fury of Dracula. Of course, the game's called the Fury of Dracula. Let's see what each one of those things are. For Rage, after a hunter is defeated, advance the influence track by 2, plus the number of despair tokens on the time track. These are things that you track. On the time track, you track different despair tokens, meaning that things are not going well for our group of hunters. Pride, if Dracula plays either Escape as Mist or Escape as Bat, before he has played a number of combat cards greater than the number of despair tokens on the time track, the card is canceled. Okay. So you gotta have, you're not gonna disappear unless Dracula's got something good going, and then he can disappear. So you can't play it unless before he has played a number of combat cards. So you gotta fight first. No just running away. And then finally, the Fury of Dracula. While all 3 despair tokens are on the time track, each time you place a city location card or hide on the trail, advance the influence track by 3. That's kind of cool. And it looks like he starts out with maybe 15 life. I'm guessing is what that's there at the bottom. It's a little 15 next to that symbol. I've played the game before, so Dr. Seward starts out with 9 life, I'm assuming. And Helsing with 8. Mina Harker, who's been bitten once, as you can see the blood there from the bite, and 9. And finally, Lord Galdaming starts out at 11. He's pretty strong, apparently. So that's the characters and their figurines. Cards. There's 3 decks of cards here. Don't know what each does. But there are 3 sets here in plastic. It looks like quite a few cards. Let's take a look at 1 or 2, shall we? These all look like locations to me. But maybe I'm wrong. Let's take a look and see. Yeah, these are all locations. Yeah. Beautiful cards. And they match up with the map. So I don't know if this is where if Dracula puts where he's been. So later on, if there's any, the idea is that it's kind of like in Letters from Whitechapel. I think if this is, and I'm only guessing because I haven't played the game. In Letters from Whitechapel, you have to track where you were as Jack the Ripper. So that later on, if somebody says, "Oh, you cheated me. I had you pinned down and you moved your guy, or you did something to cheat me out of it." This shows that here's where I was on the first turn. And you can go back and actually say, "Wait a minute. You said you weren't there, and I challenged you there in the first turn." So anyway, that's these locations. I think that's probably how it works. That would make sense. In Letters from Whitechapel, you have to log where you were on a little piece of paper. So later on, it can be looked at and, let's say, challenged if necessary. And you've got this red deck, and I don't know if it's all part of that deck. Some of these are probably Draculas, and some of them are probably the Hunters. I'm guessing that again. I haven't even watched the video yet on how this is played. Oh, there's a mix of a bunch of different cards in here. Okay, all these, and then there's these. Okay, so you've got the backs that look like that. Pretty cool looking. This says, here's one here, Wolves. Each hunter on this city suffers 4 damage. Each hunter may reveal a weapon card to reduce the damage they suffer by 2 for each weapons card they reveal. Matured effect. Reveal this location card and choose a city up to 2 roads away. Resolve the above effect in that city. So there's what the card looks like. It's pretty cool looking. Like the artwork. And then there's a bunch of things like that. These are to be Dracula's cards, perhaps. And these cards are what? More Dracula's cards. Seduction. Play when a hunter performs a search action and before any hunter cards are resolved. Okay. Dracula's Brides. Summon Storms. Well, these are definitely Dracula's. Pardon me. Oh. It's been a long, long day. More Dracula's Powers. I'm not sure if these are actions. Wolf Form, Feed, Misdirect, Dark Call, and Hide. Different veil. Again, different things that Dracula can do. This might even be... Oh, these might just be cards you give every player. These are the things you can do on your turn. So I think those go to the players. Let me put those on the very bottom so I can remember that they're there in the pack. So lots of things there. Basically what you're doing is going around the map. You're trying to find Dracula. You're picking up clues as to where he might have been along the way. I believe Dracula has to, if it's anything like Letters from Whitechapel, Dracula must reveal to you when he's been. If you say, were you here, he's got to say, yes, I was there. And perhaps there's markers here, a lot of different marking things to mark to say, yes, Dracula was along this path. So you know, and if it works like Whitechapel, you know that he was there, you just don't know when. It could have been 2 turns ago, could have been last turn, could have been 5 turns ago. But you'll know that at one point he was there. I'm guessing he has a crypt somewhere where he keeps his coffin. Finding that would probably be a big deal. Don't know that it would end the game, but it would certainly do something. Okay. And then put the lid back on here. Yeah, that's Fury of Dracula. I wanted to see the quality of the game components. In games like these, when it's a cooperative, I think it's a lot of fun because you end up talking to each other. Hey, I've got a stake with me. If you can meet me at such and such a location. Now the problem with that is Dracula's hearing you too. So a lot of times you kind of want to whisper. You may want to go into another room and say something. Hey, why don't we meet here? But most of the time I don't care that Dracula hears me. Well, in the other game, the Ripper hears us. Or so you go this way, I'll go that way. Again, we're going to do it right now, so it's not like he can change anything because we did it. That's the beauty of it. You're doing it right at that moment. He's already moved, usually. And that's probably how this one works, too. He'll have already moved by the time we're moving. So he can't do much of anything until we finish moving. And I think in this game, too, during the day, he has to kind of lay low. And at night, his power grows. But he's more than likely to try to attack us during the evening hours and try to stay away from us during the daylight hours, where we can probably do him some damage, maybe even kill him if we have the right circumstances and he's weak enough. So that's Fury of Dracula. It's all bound back up again by WizKids. Again, it's my 3rd time owning it and the 1st time opening it. So yeah, a lot of the games I got from the dude originally were brand new, never opened. Some were open but never played. It's really interesting. And now I find the same thing. I've got games that I've opened and never played because I couldn't get a game together or whatever reason. But I'm going to learn that game, Fury of Dracula, and I'll play that soon. I've been waiting long enough. All right, guys, that's it for now. Take care. Dean of Games on this channel. Dean of DVD on another. So depending on which way I may put it on both, you may see it on either channel. All right, guys, take care.